We stand united with our brothers and sisters in Wisconsin. What's disgusting?
Union busting!
What's disgusting?
Union busting!
People around the world are watching crowds of ordinary citizens in the Middle East. And people around the world are watching crowds of ordinary citizens in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yes.
And what do they have in common? They are people struggling for universal human rights.
Yes, brother.
Yes.
Workers' rights are human rights. Workers' rights are human rights.
Workers' rights are human rights. Workers' rights are human rights.
Let me just say to the men and women in organized labor in Maryland how proud I am, and I know I speak on behalf of the governor, that you are coming together and rallying in solidarity for your brothers and sisters in Wisconsin.
All right.
There is a, call it what you want, maybe anti-union, union-busting wave that is trying to pick up momentum across this country. And regardless of where it is, I can tell you right now, there's no room, there's no place, there's no welcome mat for that kind of thinking in the state of Maryland. We view all of our unions, and today I want to say to our public employee unions, as partners in the difficult work that we've done in the last few years and that we still have left to be done.
Yes. Yes.
And we know that we don't always agree. These are tough times. And the governor and I have made decisions that aren't necessarily favored by everyone. We've had our disagreements. We've asked our public employees to make sacrifices. Furloughs, we know that. Those are tough decisions. And foregoing COLAs and step increases, those are painful decisions. But through thick and thin, we will always remember that we're going to make progress together when we can sit down together at the table.
That's right.
And we are not going to use a recession or a budget deficit as an excuse to eliminate collective bargaining rights in the state of Maryland.
One thing that we have to remember, hold that sign up right there, the black and yellow, that one right there.
Yeah.
Solidarity. What does it say?
Solidarity.
What does it say?
Solidarity.
Working together works. And let me tell you, any issue that we have, we come to the table together, we can work it out. This is the state of Maryland. It's not some other state you see over in the Midwest. I'm not calling which one that is. All right. We believe.
I'll do it for you, brother.
We believe in sitting down, working together, but more importantly, we believe in standing together on those issues that are important to us.
I'm sure many of you, as labor brothers and sisters, know about the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire.
Yes.
100 years ago, 100 people died, immigrants, mostly overwhelmingly immigrants. And just yesterday, they finally learned the identity of 5 of the unidentified victims of that fire. And so when they have the annual commemoration in New York of that fire, they'll know the names of everyone who died. But that fire led to significant reforms, significant protections that were not at risk until now, but they are at risk once again. So we are in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Wisconsin. That's not going to happen here, but we've got to make sure that it doesn't even come close, that it happens nowhere, that people working and bargaining together can do the best government that we can have.
Yes.
Thank you.
I just stopped by to say that you know that I'm with you in solidarity. It's about us coming together and about us not being fearful by the threats of a walker. In Wisconsin, the people are doing what they need to do to make the changes so that their families and their communities are safe. Thank you for being here, for being vigilant, for being strong, and not letting fear take over. So God bless you. Stop union busting!
Yeah! Busting! Stop union 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 busting! Stop.
in the private sector. They lost their jobs, they lost their union, they lost their pension, and what's their reaction? Not to get angry at big business, but to get angry with their brothers and sisters in the public sector and say, I lost my pension, you lose your pension.
They need to get
Why are we at that point in our time?
Please know that you have a large number of people in the General Assembly that are standing right behind you. We will walk with you on those picket lines. We will not cross those picket lines, and we will always be here because you're the people. You are the ones that make things happen, and we thank you for that.
This is an issue about providing for our families and about being fair, and it's so important that you are here. The most important thing is that you keep your voices up and let us join you and make sure what's happening across the country does not come here to Maryland, and we roll back the tide of folks trying to eradicate labor.
School teacher, I'm proud to be a union member. I'm proud to stand with you all. I'm proud to stand with Wisconsin working families, and I'm proud to say solidarity with the folks up in Wisconsin.
You have 1 million politicians behind me, eager to stand with you today, because we know what you know and what Scott Walker doesn't know, that collective bargaining rights are a universal human right. They're recognized by the UN and the Collective Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. This is the fight of the year here. This is the fight of the decade. We need to make sure our rights are not rolled back in Maryland or Wisconsin or anywhere else in this country.
We're not taking it anymore. We're fired up. We're not taking it anymore. We're fired up. We're not taking it anymore.
Sisters and brothers, this is not about union busting. It's not a union issue. It's a civil rights issue.
Yes.
Dr. King, 43 years ago, Martin Luther King died on behalf of our Ashley sanitation workers so that they could have the right to bargain.
Right.
It's a civil rights issue. We want to thank you all for coming out.
All Americans are interested in the same things. A good education for their children, a good job, a good home, a good economy. This is as true of those who work in the private sector, many of which are here today, as it is for the public sector. So the governor, as he often says, we're all in this together, here in Maryland, here in the United States, and he's very much opposed to this concept out of Wisconsin that one, collective bargaining is bad or fiscally irresponsible. Nothing can be further than the truth. We've proved that here in Maryland. The second that the governor believes very much is that we're all in this together, and this idea of dividing public employee versus private sector employee versus taxpayer is anathema to all the very principles that make up the United States of America. So thank you all for having me.
The thing that we have to stand proud of is that all unions have lifted up all workers. We have been working for workers for hundreds of years, and the sign that says it's about freedom couldn't be truer. Being able, union rights are human rights, are civil rights, and all free countries recognize the strength of unions. When dictators come into countries, the first thing they do is abolish the unions and go after the union leaders. We see that in country after country. We cannot let America become that kind of country. I'm looking at everything that is right about America in front of me right now. This is it. We stand as taxpayers. We stand as community leaders. We stand as leaders within our unions. But most importantly, we stand with all workers, not just union workers. We have lifted up the middle class in this country. And now we are going to draw the line that what we have fought for and our people before us have died for in this country, we're going to keep our freedom. We're going to stand together. We are not going to be divided among sectors of employment. And we are going to send our message out loud and proud that we are a union. We're what's right about America. We're going to keep our rights. We're not going to let them come to Maryland, but we're going to push them back in every state that they try to come forward.
That. I'm not giving collective bargaining.
All right.
It keeps me safe. It's all I have, and I'm going to fight for it.
Here because I know state workers, I work with state workers, and they're good people, and they deserve to keep their rights here in Maryland. Thankfully, we have a governor who's going to do that, but with folks in Wisconsin, folks in Ohio who are under attack, I need to be out here to show my solidarity and support. That's why I made up a sign. The leaders support collective bargaining, and we have a leader like that in Maryland, thankfully. I hope the folks in Wisconsin and Ohio can do the same thing.